right, we are live. Um, yeah, so I don't know because I have room for one more heavy hitting diamond, but I don't know. I think what Exto is saying about having less than 20 is real, but I don't know. Let's go see. Are there any good high iron? Yo, hello everyone. Are there any good high irons or kind of low bronzes in the format?
I
I
haven't even
haven't, I
begun.
haven't done the research to really look at that.
Oh wait, what do
Uh,
you mean, guys? Come on. Y'all are
I
supposed to tell
know.
me what to do. Y'all are the good ones here.
Not.
well, we did say we were going to do daily LeBron's cap, and then you just said, "Hey, let's talk about the PTCS." So you kind of bait and switched us. I
Yo,
mean,
Dish.
doesn't Davy Force play in Dead
What?
Ball?
Okay, if I
Or
have good.
sort by L10 and then pick the bronzes that are there.
Let's set a handy dandy filter. What do we want to set our filter at? 64?
Sure. I think 64 is force at least, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, and then let's go back to all batters. Nice to have you, Dish. Good to see you. Um, you want to give us any spicy hints about Thursday while you're here? All right. Oh yeah, Davy Force plays, guys. Davy Force plays. Ooh, Chickstall Feathergill. Sorry, Fothergill. Isn't Bob Fothergill the one that was like five? He was short and round and had like a lifetime like 360 average.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I want to say. Ooh, nice dish. So I want to say Babe Ruth even made a comment about him being like the best hitter he'd ever seen. I think that was Bob Fothergill. But Elmer Smith.
Hey, Durden, can you make your OBS a little bigger?
Yeah, hold on 1 second. Oh, of course. Every
Like if
time
you
I
just
fire this stream up, I get knocked out of Monday Silver. Yeah, hold on 1 second. Let me go over here. All right. Oh, I think
oh,
that's as
did
big
that
as this.
work? Can you slide? Oh, there we go.
All right, yeah.
Okay.
Hey, Capcom. Is that better?
Yeah. Yeah, that should be fine. You can see that pretty well.
Okay, sweet. Hey everyone, we wanted to take a look at the new Daily Low Bronze Cap, and as has been the theme the last few weeks, Hexto and Aster are carrying the weight as I reacclimate to corporate America. I'm coming out of like 8 straight hours of Zoom meetings, and so they're going to be running the show tonight. So Exto's bringing the hot and heavy stats. Aster's going to walk me through a build. We're actually going to do them in this order. We're going to talk real quick about Know Your Cap, which you guys know is a theme for cap strats in our sphere. We're going to talk through Know Your Cap. Aster is going to walk me through his initial build. And then Exto is going to tell him how wrong he is. It's going to be glorious. Yeah, so 64 and under. So 64 does make the cut, Capcom. Um, and so let's just dive right in. Um, so know your cap. 64 overall and lower is going to make our card pull. It's going to make up our card pull. We have a 1325 cap, which is pretty popular for bronze formats and PT. It does give us a cap number of 11.875. So, you know, we actually have some irons that are really good in this format. So that cap number could probably stretch up to like 12 and a half, 13. And it does have modern settings, and there is a DH. So we are going to be looking for 5 starting pitchers. Bullpen will be relevant. Important to note. And yeah, so let's kind of dive right in. Are you ready, Aster?
Sure.
All right, let's do this. Um, so I've already signed up. I was a good boy. Already got signed up. And almost, almost disaster. We could use my alt, I guess. Almost a disaster. Almost fired a daily tournament, and did not sign up for this. That would have been quite embarrassing. Oh wait, what? I'm silly. I of course always get knocked out of Monday Silver when we fire the stream up. Add extra spot anyway. Silly me. All right, we have no roster, and so Aster, walk me through your cap building process from scratch.
Okay, so first of all, let me quick question, Jordan. Do you have like a cap shell roster import that you do?
Oh, you are starting from scratch, Aster.
Okay, I just wanted to check. So let's start with our shell.
All right.
So let's start with a 42 Cavaretta.
All right. All right. So you're diving in hot and heavy. All right. So we're on all batters. Our filter is irrelevant. I was playing around with it earlier, but just in case, everyone, do remember your filters. They are very, very helpful. And so if you don't know your shell off the top of your head, you can always come in and set some filters for like contact, eye, and things like that, and kind of sort your cards. But we're going to move pretty fast. And so you said Cabaretta?
Cavaretta, yep, 42.
Right. 42 Cabaretta, and he covers first base and right field. Gotcha.
Yep. 42 Richardson, just above him there.
Yeah, so we have our second baseman, everybody. I'm just trying to walk through as if I'm totally ignorant here.
And then 45, is it Jimmy Walsh? Yeah, Jimmy Walsh.
Yeah, Jimmy Walsh. 45 Jimmy Walsh, who covers the corner outfield spots and second, third, and short. Quite a handy card.
And then I actually realized one of the things, I did this build earlier this weekend, so we're going to have to double check. A couple of my lives might have changed numbers and I may swap out, but let's take a look and see, is Mickey McDonald still a 43?
All right. Mickey
I think he's a 43 or a 44 now.
Yes, he is a 43 still. So
Okay.
Mickey McDonald does have solid D in the outfield. Not a bad card.
And he sort of vaguely had an eye, so he at least is not truly awful to plate if you have to play him, but mostly he's there because he plays passable defense at all three outfield spots. And then, Durden, do you have Aaron Sibia?
I do.
So this is one of those things, backup catcher. I go with Aaron Sibia just for the power. Red Doohan is perfectly suitable.
Phenomenal budget option. He's got speed. He's not bad on the bases. Defense is passable, and he makes contact. So if you don't have Aaron Sibia, it's not. I mean, sure, sucks, but Doohan is a great budget option.
And then let's check on some pitchers. A lot of these guys are live, so we may have to adjust. 40 overall, Matt McGill.
He is still a 40.
Okay, let's grab him.
He's a snapshot.
Oh,
okay.
Sorry, he's a snapshot.
Well,
Silly me.
Then he will not. Then he definitely wasn't changing. Chris Ellis, who is alive and is still a 40.
Yep.
His numbers don't look like they changed much, if at all. 41 Hunter Harvey.
He is still there too, I believe. Spoke too soon.
He is not there. Okay. Let's go a little Johan Flond action.
We got Johan Flond. I could have sworn I saw Harvey earlier. What did Exo? Do you have anything in front of you?
I'm looking it up now.
Ooh, Erasmo looks pretty good now. Look at that, 48-33. He's like the new Harvey.
Oh yeah, so let's grab him. and let's grab Alexander Wells.
Love Wells.
Too.
This deal is pretty spicy too. 67, 24, 53.
Yeah,
Haven't
that'd be a
dug
decent
into
option.
the live changes. Cal Quantrill's
Har-
pretty nice too.
Harvey's now a 49.
Oh, that
Mm.
hurts.
He got a bunch of movement.
So-
It's like
So that's basically my shell. Right there is most of my bullpen, and most of my backups. Pretty much all of my backups. So, that's 10 guys. Didn't take up much cap.
36
Nobody's above
points. Counting
Um,
for you.
Thank you, appreciate it. Isn't it 16 points?
Is it 1040? It is 16
1040
points.
Smith.
I need to go to bed. That is 16 points. So we actually haven't even used the whole cap number yet. So you're rocking.
Okay, so
Yeah, you're
now
rocking.
let's start going through the positions. So catcher.
Real quick questions.
Sure.
Dish, what kind of catcher could you use if you didn't get lucky enough to get Arantibia? Red Duin, I think is the call. Unless you have some, like if you do your build and you've got 7 points, Bubbles is a no-brainer, right? Depending on where you go with your starter. Or if you've got 7-8 points, you can always platoon Bubbles and Ruiz, which Bubbles is not a lefty, right? So you're not going to get that bump versus righties, but he's got a solid hitting profile. He's not splitty. And Ruiz is pretty spicy against left-handers. And so if you're running on a tight budget, I think Duin is the call there.
So I'm going with Bubbles as my starter at catcher.
All right. I like it. And so what I was talking about, Dish, is as you can see, Bubbles hits great against both sides. And solid D for this format. Good on the bases. You can start him both ways. The other thing, just for the sake of conversation real quick, Aster. So Ruiz is just rocking against lefties. Obviously, he's splitty. And so he does have better defense than Bubbles. And so I know it sounds weird to say platoon to right-handers, but it's what I'll often do in caps if I'm trying to conserve points at catcher. So
Okay, so moving on to first base, we're gonna go with the I like dingers option of Bob Hamlin, who's a 64 overall.
love him. All right. Who you got at second?
Second base is Craig Biggio.
Man, did you cheat? Did you look at Xdo sheet?
I did not.
Okay. Biggio.
I looked after I'd done my initial build, and I think I did make one adjustment, but we'll get to that.
Okay.
Third base. This I think was the adjustment. Third base, I went with Pinky Whitney.
Ooh, I like
59.
it. You said 59, right? Yeah, Whitney's
Yes.
a 59, right? Okay.
Yeah. I think these are all non-lives, so they should not have moved.
Yeah, you're good. I was just trying to remember Pinky. For some reason, I love that card. I always think of him as a bronze. So,
he's a snapshot.
yeah.
59.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's great. All right, who you got at short?
Shortstop is Davy Force.
All right, so if you do not have Davy Force, who would you be going with?
I would probably go right above Davy to Dick Bartell.
Yeah, he's a great card.
I mean, it's very tempting to go with Tupita Maracano just for the name, but yeah, Bartell's definitely the budget option at the same price point.
Tucupita. I was much more bullish on Quebec before I realized how important I was in the engine this year. But it's not bad, and he's got some great defense. But yeah, I would agree. Bartel's the budget option here.
And then moving on to left field, we are going to go with Durden's favorite, Bob Fothergill.
Yes. At the meager price of 8 points. I love it. Yes, he doesn't have much job, but that dude has everything else. So, all right, who you got in center?
Center, we're going to go with Tris Speaker.
Ooh, we're starting to deviate from each other. I like it. There's Tris. For those of you that aren't familiar, great hitting profile on this card. Doesn't have the power. His avoid K is pretty high, so he doesn't have crazy BABIP. But man, if he gets the bat on the ball, he's getting bases. So cool. Right field.
Right field is going to be Elmer Smith. And he is a
47, right?
7, yes.
Yeah.
That card is too good.
How this card is a 47, we will never ever know.
Magic.
Yeah, if this card is a sign of Platinum 2, bring it on. This card is amazing. Yeah. All right.
And then,
sorry.
and then we need a DH.
Yeah.
And so for DH, we're going to go with everybody's favorite iron card, Bill Salkeld.
Nice.
Now, the non-budget option for this format would, of course, be 58 LE Babe Ruth.
Yeah.
I do not have one of those. If I did, I would play him over Salkeld, but I also wouldn't spend the $100,000 to get a.
Hold on. It's not $100,000 anymore. It's 170 right now.
Well, based on the property of if I won't spend 100,000, then I will not spend 170,000.
Cray. Yeah, his BABIP's what, 93?
Yeah,
geez.
I think that would be an upgrade over Salkeld, but that's not in most people's budgets. Okay, so that I think covers my whole offense.
All right.
I should have 14 guys on offense.
Let's go check.
And
let's do
yeah,
our count. 4, 8, 12, 14. We are good.
Okay, so let's go to pitching, and we're gonna start with 61 Billy Heft, Hoeft.
I think we got a few eligible live cards here, guys. I don't know about you. Heft is a great option. I'm curious to see how much we deviate from each other on pitching. It'll be spicy. All right, who you got next?
Next up is 63 Bob Ewing.
Nice. He was my first choice. Love Bob Ewing. All right.
And then we're going to go with 61 Mike Mussina.
Good card. Agree. Where'd he go? 61 Mussina, right?
Right. He's not a live card, so he should not have changed. Did you sell him?
There's no way on earth.
Do I have the maybe I have the overall wrong?
I thought he... Yeah, he's 62.
62? Okay.
I'm too tired for you to do that to me, Aster. That
I
was
apologize. Next up, we're going to go with 57 Jesse Tannehill.
Nice. All reliable.
And while we're in the 57 range, we're also going to grab Ferguson Jenkins.
Ooh, that is a spicy selection. All right, and so Aster is definitely playing around with fire here, and so not that I think it's a bad pick. By the way, I do think he gets the fly ball bump. 62 is up with that 85 control and 99 stamina. If he's keeping the ball in the park, that dude is going to eat some innings up, which is pretty awesome. So, little splitty though. If he runs into some lefties, could get pretty nerve wracking. So,
Okay. So now I should have 2 roster spots left.
yes,
Is
and
that
you have
correct?
18 points left.
I have 18 points
Already
left.
know where
So
you're
let,
going.
so let's go 47 Eddie Plank.
Got him. And you have 11 points left.
Okay. So that is interesting. How do I only have 11 left? Okay, so I may have
You have
to.
room for Gary Lucas.
Yeah, I was gonna do Nelson Bryles. Actually, I had John Schreiber in there, but he went from 52 to 65, so he is no longer eligible.
Yeah.
And so yeah, so let's go Gary Lucas.
Okay. All right, so let's take a look now. Let's hop over to pitching, build your staff. So it sounds like you have Ewing 2. You wanted Heft number 1. You had Jenkins number 3. You had Moose number 3. Or sorry, number 5. Number 3. And Tannehill 4. Whoops, sorry. 1004. Does this look correct to you?
Uh, yeah, yeah, that looks good.
Okay.
So, generally speaking, I probably I go high stamina. Generally speaking, on my starters. So, I'll probably put pitch counts somewhere in the 100 to 115 range. For some of the guys that go up to 110 stamina, I might even go up to 120. So like Heft, I'd probably put at 100 pitches. Ewing at and Tannehill at 120. Jenkins at maybe 110. And what's Messina?
Moose is 91. Yeah, 91.
I put him at like around 100 as well.
I like it. What's Jenkins? 99.
Yeah. So I go maybe 110 on Jenkins,
Okay.
120 on Tannehill.
All right, cool. Cool. Hey, Gorgo.
In terms of bullpen roles, I usually keep it pretty simple. I'm going to put my 2 best pitchers, Plank and Lucas, as stoppers.
Like it. Do you do secondary?
Uh, no, for those guys, I just want them coming in as stoppers in the 7th.
Okay.
Um, I've played around with occasionally putting like a high leverage designation as a secondary role for at least one of them, but I think generally if you're putting them in stopper 7th inning,
So interesting. What I've found, at least myself, is that in caps I don't use high leverage, because I have found, at least in caps, I'd rather give my starters, especially if it's like the 6th inning, I'd rather give them an opportunity to pitch out of the jam than like having 1 or 2 good bullpen arms who get pulled into the game and and they try and work through the high leverage, and then you end up with crap arms late. And so, anyway, in more open formats and in league especially, I agree. I'll kind of toss some high leverage on there for a secondary role.
Sure. One thing I just wanted to point out, I have both stoppers being lefties. I usually try and have one lefty, one righty. When I did this build, instead of Lucas, I had John Schreiber, who was a 52, and I must have had somebody one off. And so probably, at some point I'll find somebody who's a good fit, or I'll maybe move a couple points around. And end up with a lefty and a righty. But for purpose of this build, Lucas is at least representative of the quality of pitcher that I would put in that spot. But usually I'd look for somebody who's similar. Also, one thing I just wanted to point out for that stopper spot, especially if I'm putting it seventh inning or later, I want somebody with at least 35 or higher stamina. Plank has way higher than that. Lucas is, I think, in the high 40s, but Schreiber was like a 33 or 34, and I found that was generally good enough. Sometimes I'd put him as maybe eighth, like I'd have Plank be coming in seventh, close game, whereas if Schreiber was like in the 30s for stamina, I'd put him as like eighth in close game. And then for all the rest of the pitchers, I just put them all mid-relief as their primary role, and I generally don't bother with the secondary role.
Okay, one thing I do is I will for long relief just to try and protect my pin, and I'm using protect in very, very loose terms. But like some of my poorer arms, I'll try and make sure that some of my 40s have high stamina. So like this Chris Ellis. And right. I would give him a secondary role of long relief.
Yeah, that's I do that from that, and it makes more sense in these caps. Is like people are talking in the chat about putting pitch counts on your 40 overalls. You maybe some of them, but you really do want, if one of your starters gets blown out and it brings in Chris Ellis, and he wants to go, 5 innings and throw 80 pitches, you want and quite honestly need
Agreed.
that for, advancing, these are 64 team tournaments. You to advance, 5 or 6 rounds, you really need your bullpen not ever get truly gassed. And so be careful, you may want to put a couple of your guys on something of a pitch count. And your stoppers you can put on, put like a 30 or 35 pitch count, so that at least they don't go crazy. But usually if they're coming in the 7th or later, they're usually not ending up with insane amounts of pitches. And if they are, they're usually keeping you in a game that your 40 overall coming in after would potentially a disaster. Any other thoughts?
Yeah.
So basically, don't listen to me. I'm the one who suggested the 20.
So the other thing is, if I
always get this wrong. I always think that Obelix Prime is somebody else, and I forget it's you. And so that was awesome.
Shh, he's listening.
By the way, guys, Exto has knocked me out of 3 tournaments in the last 24 hours. So we are no longer speaking to each other.
Yeah, it's been glorious to have a front row seat to watching.
We're
I'm now substituting him.
Durden as a mediator.
So let's go to the lineup.
The only other thing I'd consider is I love Wells more than everyone else, and I would consider putting Hughes more often.
I like the usage option stuff. I use it a lot.
Yeah. I like Ramirez. I'd probably toss him Hughes more often. But that's it. That's the only other thing I'd tweak.
Okay.
All right. I don't really have much to say about your hitters. I think I would have ended up with probably all of these guys with the difference of maybe 1 or 2 slots. I think we ended up pretty darn close to each other. So,
so
I'm just going to populate real quick.
Yeah. So I usually just have the AI populate it, and then I make any adjustments just to save you some time. But
that's all right. I can do it quick. I'm guessing Bobby is your backup DH.
Yeah.
Okay. Son of a.
I have so many Bobbies that I got confused there.
Come on, man. Be hipster. All right, I'm guessing Mickey's here. I'm guessing you want Walsh primarily at 3rd and 2nd. So do you want Mickey and left to avoid more than 2 backups? Or do you want Walsh there with Mickey backing up over here?
Well, I would say Mickey in left and center. Yeah, so
Yeah.
now I've got nobody's backing up more than two positions.
Yes. So real quick, everyone, really, really, really important that you want to avoid backing up a player backing up more than two spots. Just for what it's worth, you want to make the decision making tree for the AI as simple as possible. And so, anyway, I won't go.
Yeah, and also if you just think about it, so generally speaking, most hitters will play, non-catchers will play the first four games of a series and will be, if not at 100, after those four games, they'll be at like 97, 98, and then depending on where you set your for your players to come in, it will it maybe will like substitute for a guy after the for the fifth game, but sometimes that nobody will even be that tired. So then that means game six suddenly everybody's tired, and you have only one backup for two positions. So one of the guys will sit game six, but then the guy for game seven, if you go game seven of a series, will be very, very tired by the time he comes out. So if you have a guy backing up three positions, he never somebody has to play game seven very, very tired. And sometimes you'll luck out that somebody will sit game five and then game six, game seven. But a lot of times, you are
Yeah.
you're in a lot of trouble.
So PJ, I agree. Center, shortstop at least. I'm less bullish on center field defense in 23 than I was in 22. Um, so PJ, good point. Another thing you can do, by the way, because there is a significant value difference between Davey Force and Pink Whitney. Another thing you can do if you have like here we have Walsh backing up both third and short, is you can go into Whitney and sorry, you can go into Whitney and you can set a much more aggressive hook for him of like 98 or 99. Um, and so you can then try and unless you're going to be sitting here microing every game, at least then you can try and stagger the shortstop bench, and so that way Walsh will probably start for Whitney in game 4 or 5, and then Force then will get rested on time. So
Okay. And then in terms of pinch hitters, I probably just put Cavaretta and Richardson in there as pinch hitters. Um,
yeah, man, that's a tough call. Who man, Cav is such a beast VR. Um, that's a tough one, but Richardson just has like an almost silver bat. So
yeah, I probably would put Cavaretta ahead, but I don't think it. They're pretty close.
yeah,
Um, and then, and also, one thing I would say is if you want to like upgrade it in any other spots, Richardson I think is totally playable at second base. I think Biggio is a monster. He's probably one of the top three or four hitters, would be my guess in this format. So I really wanted to get him in, and it feels like I'm sort of wasting Richardson as the backup. Um, and I talked on I think the last stream about how Richardson sometimes is frustrating in that he only plays one position. But this is a situation where it kind of worked out, and he's a fine backup and pinch hit bat. But Biggio I think is kind of the stud, one of the studs in this format.
yeah.
But if you really wanted to move your points around, I think you get away with Richardson as your starter. Um, and then I think we're pretty much going to be the same lineup versus left. I don't think we
Yeah, I
really
don't
had
think we do
tuned that
anything.
up.
So the only thing I usually just let AI set my lineup and I'll go in and make some tweaks. I actually would want to tweak this one. Um, Let me see real quick. I think oh, man, 22 speed. Um, Hamlin 33. We don't have anything too wild going on here. Tris 16s. Ugh. So I do think I want Elmer second, and I want Salkeld third, and man, Man, I know that speed. I hate dropping that speed down the lineup. But I would even consider moving Triss up too. So I think I like this a little bit more. So you want one of your best bats in the second slot, and then that leaves Salkeld to just destroy the third spot. You want your best hitter in the 3 spot. And then you got your monster and cleanup. So I do think I would have switched that around.
Are you not worried about potentially facing like a left-handed middle reliever during those
Not in this cap.
with Elms? Yeah, that's fair.
Not in this cap because he's probably going to have like a 40, 35, 45 profile. So I think if it's open, I definitely think staggering some of the handedness is definitely a strong consideration, Exto, for sure. In this one, though, probably not because these hitters are just going to murder bullpens. So,
Oh yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
So we got the same. We got Bobby, though. I think you would have done this. And then... are you doing anything over here?
Mm,
Can we move Bubbles up? Right? Elmer's good,
I'd
but
maybe move him up over Elmer,
yeah.
but I like Davey in the 2 hole there.
Yeah, agreed. Do we move up Bob?
I think
Man.
I thought isn't Triss not particularly splitty? A little bit.
Yeah, he's a little bit, but like I really think we got 18 points different, 20 points difference in Babbitt. If we were wanting to try and look for a tiebreaker to consider.
Okay.
The handedness and 20 Babbitt. So yeah, I think this is pretty good.
Okay.
All right, Dexto, you ready to tell us how wrong we were?
Yeah. You guys weren't that wrong. I think we're gonna diverge mostly from pitching, but
Oh, interesting. All right, so let's hop back over there then. All right. So, modeling. Exto, I'm just a monkey clicking buttons now. Take it away.
yep. Durden came up with the idea of predicting WOBA based on card ratings. So we took the daily bronze cap, which I think I had 7 tournaments. So lots of data to predict off of, and we limited it to top to 64 overall and under. So yeah, next slide. Okay. Brace yourself. Babe Ruth apparently is good in this format. I think I didn't drop a screenshot of his ratings, but they are good. They're really good. I don't know what else to say. We'll probably once it runs. I don't know if it ran today or not, but I'm in it on and I'll be sure to pull it and we can see who does better. But Ruth is up there, Biggio, and then it's the usual suspects: Smith, Sulkhead, Schumpert is up there. That's a bit of a surprise. Johnny Temple, Joe Kelly,
Temple's
Bobby
good.
Mercer.
Yeah.
One thing that I think how I do the modeling, it kind of biases I a little bit. So the way the WOBA is predicted. But yeah.
Yeah,
So
let's
these are the top
look
10
at
best
Schumpert.
hitters.
Sorry, I want to look at Schumpert real quick because I can't recall his profile off the top of my head. Second base, right?
Just to see how bad the modeling is.
No, this is a good card. Yeah, this is a solid card. Your model did have Joe Kelly, who I absolutely love. I would actually consider him over Tris Speaker. I love this card.
Yeah, that was a tough call for me between those two.
Yeah.
That's a lot of blue and green.
Yeah, this card is awesome, and he can play left and second too if you'd rather start him there. I don't know why you would play him over Biggio or Bobby Richardson, but he's got 59 stock, which is not peanuts. So on par defensively with Bobby Richardson, but yeah, I love Joe Kelly. Johnny Temple, that was the other one we wanted to look at. Yeah, Johnny Temple's great. It's a nice card. Lot of blue and green, so cool.
So these are the top 10 batters, and basically the next slides are just a bunch of breakdowns of who my very simple model predicts to be good. Rusty Staub would be probably someone to consider if you want to spend your points elsewhere. If you want to go up from Cavaretta. Bobby Byrne, that was a surprising one. If you want to pull that one up.
Yeah, let's go pop over there. Bobby
Card
Byrne.
I've spent a second thinking about this entire cycle. I'm interested to see what this looks like.
Dude, this card I totally slipped under my radar. For the format, dude's plus defense. And he is a very balanced hitting profile. It's about as balanced as it gets.
And he can steal bases, probably,
Yeah.
with a 72. Yep.
This is a phenomenal card. Wow. Okay. So yeah, Boggs. We have some usual suspects here. I did not know Rob Refsnyder snuck up to a 58. That's
Yeah,
interesting.
there's some. I was going through and I was looking for live cards. Like on first base, there's Santana and Yuli, but I feel like there's so many better cards. But Ref Snyder would be one if you want to pull up Ref Snyder.
Yeah, and let's look real quick too at Oberkfell. For some reason, off the top of my head, that card is good. Here's Oberkfell. Yeah, not a bad card. He is a lefty, which I think is good. Which you ended up with a 4-5. Oh, sorry, a 5-4 split. Aster, you had a very balanced hitting lineup.
Right, and that was somewhat intentional, but kind of, with I haven't worried too much as I do my builds, but I do prefer if I have like a 5-4 or 6-3 split in a cap, it'd be ideal.
This is
Yeah.
a really interesting card.
Yeah, it's a lot for a backup, and the third base defense is probably subpar.
I
But
like this hitting profile though.
yeah, if you want to run maybe Sulkit at catcher and DH Ref Snyder and do that maybe.
Yeah. I like that card. Cool.
Yeah, that's not crazy.
All right, so we've got. Oh wait, I thought we
Yeah,
already
this
went-
is
okay.
the way I did the slides is a little
Oh,
confusing,
okay.
but yeah, second short, second base you got Biggio, Shumpert, Temple, Chuck Knobloch,
Yeah, it's a good card.
and then shortstop. When I was building the team, my alt didn't have Davy Force, and I was like, oh, I'll do Jose Reyes, but then I looked one line down, and I was like, oh, Jody Reed is about as good as
Jody
as
Reed
Jose
is
Reed.
awesome. Yeah, that's cool. Let's
Yeah.
go look at Reyes real quick. Reyes is 61, 62. That's not a bad card.
That's interesting. Martell did not rate out very highly.
Yeah, I'm not sure why. I double checked, and when we get to left and right field, like Ricky Henderson doesn't show up, and it's kind of like, okay, that's kind of weird. But
Yeah.
I can go back and take a look more as to why that is the case.
Dude, some stuff is really bubbling up here. I love that Jose Reyes card. I don't think he's worth 3 more points than Jody Reed, but I don't know. I wouldn't blame someone if they were kind of at the end of their build and they had a small handful of points left over. I do think Jose Reyes in a vacuum is an upgrade over Jody Reed. I love Bonifacio.
One of the things, Jordan, just to jump in,
Yeah.
like if you look at shortstop, like Davy Force does come out as the best projected hitter, but his defense at shortstop is like a little bit, it's probably comparable to Reed. And then I don't remember, Reyes was also right around 60 defense, right?
Yeah, so let's just pull them up side by side real quick. I mean, yeah, Davey Force is not a defensive specimen.
Right. So just, if you're been like, oh my God, I don't have this, super rare LE, you're not talking about a whole lot of difference in production between those two guys. The defense is comparable, maybe like Davies' defense marginally better. And the hitting is marginally better. So like if you have them, great, but you're not. It's not like, oh, I can't compete in this format because I don't have Davy Force. Like you can definitely work with that. Reyes also does have a nice advantage of being a switch hitter, and little, despite being a switch hitter, he's got one of those odd where he's splitty in both directions depending on the category, which sometimes is odd. You get like a little bit different production based on which side he's on, but definitely in caps where you're not going to have platoons, it's nice to have some switch hitter bats in there.
Yeah. Yeah, when
and
he's
that-
on the right
and
side
that-
of the plate, he's
the-
swinging for the fences.
And that speed should play
Yeah,
at this
speed
level.
plays.
Especially a lot of people are probably going to play Saul Keld at catcher, and there's really not a lot of good defensive catcher options. So
Yeah. Jody Reed, by the way, is almost a perfect match with Force. Let me switch over to Force. Yeah, so Force has him by 2 points. Range is the same. Yeah, really, shortstop's really interesting in this format. One thing I do want to highlight, guys, this may be the first format in PT23 where the second baseman dominate hitting.
Yeah, and
base has not been good this year.
But it's also fascinating that like how many good options. I mean, I think you play Biggio, but like the fact that Shumpert and Temple are up there in like among the top like 10 hitters, and they're all second basemen. I mean, it's almost frustrating that you can't play all of them. Although I guess you could play one of them at DH. Wouldn't really be much of a drop off over Salkeld, depending on what you were trying to balance out your handedness. Because I think they're all righties, but yeah, definitely, it's an interesting oddity that you have so many good hitting second basemen. It's also the reason why I was saying that Richardson really, like, you could start him. You're not taking that big, but it's just like do you really want to pass up on one of the very best bats in the format in Biggio or even Shumpert or Temple to save the money to drop down to Richardson? I really want to get that elite bat into my lineup, and then have Richardson as a nice back, really solid backup and pinch hit bat.
Yeah, agreed. By the way, keep an eye on Bernie Freeberg at 342 as a potential center field option. I can't recall the slots, but Bernie Freeberg does have center field eligibility, and his odds is one of the highest in the format, so he's up there. Cool. Walk us through corner outfield.
Moises Alou. That's a name I haven't heard in a while.
Yeah, bronze floor. I did play him a little bit in bronze floor before I started going heavier on eye, because I think his eye is like 25 or 28.
This is where also Willie Calhoun shows up.
Nice. Dude,
You
the
wanna
corner
pull up
outfield
53.
is hurting over here. Holy cow.
50. Can you bring up Willie Calhoun just to see
Yeah.
how boom boom Willie Calhoun looks like?
All right. Let's bring up the black hole that is left field in this format. Calhoun, what was he?
I think he's a 50. What was it?
58?
53.
Oh, jeez. Okay.
Oh, it's kind of like a budget.
Nice. It's not a bad profile, man.
It's one of those like balanced profiles that are really hard to kind of discern, like where the breakpoints are with whatever 50 points and in each of the ratings. And
Yeah. Hey, Nico. Yep, they worked last week. So thanks for checking in on us, man. I know it's family time right now, so thank you. Yeah, Willie Calhoun's, he's an interesting one for 53. And so if we're looking at 53, let me pop back over real quick. If we're looking at 53 points, yeah. You got Bob, man.
yeah, you probably want to go Bob over that.
Yeah.
Right.
I would say.
I mean, especially given the fact that you're saving 5 points and Fothergill's defense is a lot stronger.
Yeah.
Is Fothergill a right hand or left hand bat?
Right hand.
Righty bat.
Yeah, so you'd be paying 5 points to get a left hand bat. Probably is probably the only justification.
Man, that is so hard to believe that card's a 48. I love that card. Yeah, he's got good left field defense.
Yeah, I mean, he's actually one of the better defensive left fielders that we have as an option.
So
I mean, there's a few guys that have really good defense, but just can't hit at all. So to get one of the better hitters in the format and one of the better defenders is, and at a 48 to save that kind of cap points to be able to use elsewhere, just feels like a no-brainer. But Moises is like solid, like 50 something defense at left field. I wouldn't say someone's making a mistake if they play Moises, but I do think Fothergill's the best value at the position. And then Elmer just, blowing away, got the low bronze guys is kind of amazing.
Yeah.
And Elmer's defense is passable, if I remember.
Yeah, his defense is passable. I'll tell you, one card to keep an eye on, guys, is Ted Strong, too. I love that card.
Yeah, I've used him a lot. The bronze floor stuff.
Yeah, Ted Strong's great. Nava's interesting. I think he's a switch hitter, so we can kind of look at some of these.
Strong's an interesting guy because it's interesting to think of where he's good is like bronze floor where he plays 3-4 positions and you're using him as a backup, whereas in this format where he's basically his being able to play multiple positions doesn't really add a lot of value to the card because you're really only going to be playing him at one position. Like it doesn't it's important to think when you're thinking about what kind of a card fits is that these multi-position guys as your starters only really help a little bit. It's hard to kind of like have Ted Strong as your starting right fielder and then also having your backup shortstop. The AI just is not going to manage that well. If you happen to be around and you're going to be making adjustments from sim to sim, then you can probably adjust it yourself and use him as a stronger backup than somebody like Walsh, and then have and then have Elmer as a backup to play when Ted Strong's covering shortstop. But that requires actual active management on your part, which some people do, some people don't. For a daily tournament, I'm probably not going to take the time to do that. I haven't even looked to see what time of day does the daily low bronze cap run. It was early, right?
It's early. It's one of I think it's around 10 Central. It's one of the early ones, 9-10 Central, maybe even earlier actually. The so if you do go with to exhaust to get to the bullpen, he could be an option. But yeah, I think he's definitely niche. Oh, sorry, my kids are about to come in. 1 second. My kiddo was in here reading manga, so I had her go run interference for me. So let's see. We said Nava 2 we want to take a look at. Yeah, he's a switch hitter. Great profile too. Covers first, left, right.
The thing about the Ted Strong card too, going back to that, is he's gonna get on base, and what haven't really been modeling is his stolen bases in the WOBA. But a single is going to be it's the Ricky Henderson double with a walk.
Yeah, with Salkeld, really. And I want to say Bubbles and Ruiz, neither one of them have significant throwing out runners, do they? Go look real quick.
Don't think so.
Yeah, I think they're all around 60, right? Ruiz has cab, but he doesn't have arm, right? Yeah, 59 catcher arm. He's got the cab, and then I want to say Bubbles is down there. Yeah, 59. Salkeld. I mean, these are going to take up 90+%. Yeah, 53. And so, yeah, Ted Strong may actually have... He may just be a perfect fit for this format. So... All right.
And then I just put catcher and center field together. So catcher, Bill Pokoroba, if you want to spend some big bucks. And, Salkeld, Hargrave, Ruiz are there. Garagiola.
Yeah.
Wilson Contreras I've used in bronze floor. And then for center fielders, Tris Speaker, Joe Kelly, and then Max Carey.
Max
Lenny
Carey's
Green.
interesting. Let's go look at him real quick. I always look. He's one of those cards I always look at. And I'd even run him in bronze floor, but he doesn't have multi-positional eligibility. But he's such a good card. Like, maybe this is his format. Switch hitter, great hitting on both sides of the plate.
Steal some bases.
Maybe this is Max Carey's format. Yeah, that's a great card.
Yeah.
Huh, maybe let me activate him. I might be playing Max Carey. I definitely think situationally, like, this could be him. I love Emilio too. Another card just kind of keep an eye on. So I definitely think he's the Ricky Henderson double with that BABIP. Yeah. I think that speed and stealing.
Yeah, Bonifacio works. I like him a lot in the bronze floor.
Yeah, same here. All right, so did you? Oh, you added some slides for your team, didn't you?
Yeah, so I had a slide on pitching. So
sorry.
I haven't found a good way to model pitching. I know a lot of smart people have a lot of ways, but in those 7 bronze cap formats where bronze cap tournaments, these were the top 10 in terms of innings pitched. So you see the ones that we've already kind of picked with Hooft, and I don't think you guys picked Bennis though.
No, we did not.
No.
But
Wow,
there's
it likes
other
the
there's
hollow
like
ha.
yeah, Blue, where like guys like Kevin Brown and Tannehill and Lucas, basically junk ballers. The observed WOBA against was actually pretty high, and you can kind of attribute that to like defense, and we're not playing like all stars in the outfield type of thing.
Yeah.
And then the other column on the right, those were all the relievers. So surprisingly, like Lucas did way better as a reliever than as a starter. I guess because of the stuff bump, he probably ate a little bit more strikeouts as a reliever.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, I mean, 400, 500 innings could just be a good stretch as a starter and a bad stretch as a starter and a good stretch as a reliever. Like, that could very easily even out over, a bigger sample size. But I could definitely see him being a better fit in the bullpen. And Schreiber, sadly, got bumped up to a 65 and would not be an option. He would have been my favorite reliever for this.
Yeah, but you also see Wells is there. You see Ellis. You see Woods. I think a lot of people when they go to 40, they just kind of go and pick people, and you're gonna pick. There's only, I think, maybe like 12 relievers.
Yeah. Don't pick Mauricio Lavera.
Do you want to pull up Lovera? Maybe he got upgraded. I'd be curious why he's so bad.
I feel like he's like high, but the highs aren't really that high, and the low is very low. If I remember correctly, I think he's like
It's very low. I don't even see him as a 40 anymore. I know he was down there though. I was looking earlier today.
It was so good that he got bumped up.
Wait, where? Oh, there he is. Yeah, he's at 49 now. But I remember he was. We'd have to look at the spreadsheet.
oh wow, his movement got bumped up from like 26 or 28 to 46, and his stuff I think was in like the 50s. Got bumped up to 64. So I don't think I would play him as a 49. Actually, take a look. I just saw Zach Littell was a 45 now.
I was just looking. I just wanted to see the low move, guys.
Okay. Wow, there's somebody with 4 movement.
I just want
Almost
to run
wanted-
him for science.
Almost want to go to the
I
baseball
played him-
reference page.
I feel like he's a good starter for the low iron tournament previously. I'll definitely be changing that one.
Yeah, that's so funny.
Wow.
So I want to go back to your pitching page because, okay, so if you run Sam Jones and Bronze, then Alan Benez is your guy. Because, sorry, I just want to look at this real quick. He is the Sam Jones of this format, right? What's he at 62? Where is he? Yeah, he's 62. I mean, he is the Sam Jones of this format.
He's going to strike out a ton of people. The people he walks are probably not going to steal bases, but he's going to walk a couple.
Yeah,
So
And he does have good hold runner, so
Yeah.
that's solid. And the stamina's nice. Yeah.
Vita Blue, I think, is more than reasonable. It's a good card. He's 64, right? No.
No, I think he's a,
you passed him.
63.
He's right there.
Yeah, great card. Fly ball, too. So,
Yeah.
98. He's got 72 hold. Yeah, this guy was made for this format.
He's going to eat
Yeah.
a bunch of innings and
Another one I was thinking about was Tanaka. I've always liked Tanaka. 33 hold. Yeah, I definitely think hold runners is going to be more relevant in this format than it has been.
But one thing is that I find, like, it's interesting to find cards that where they synergize well with each other. So people with what I found is like there are a bunch of pitchers that have low control but high hold runners. So they're gonna walk people, but the idea is that they'll be at least limiting the damage that they're inducing by keeping them at first base.
Yeah.
And so like someone with a higher control like Tanaka, probably hold runner is going to be okay if you can. But the challenge is that with the lower stuff, he's going to be probably giving up more balls in play. But at least he's not going to be walking people, so it's not going to be compounding errors. I think I have a few more slides, or maybe just one more slide where I did my team.
Oh, you're good. I wonder if Reed Detmers gets the real life bump because that guy. Yeah.
So this was my build. So I kind of leaned. We'll start with the batters, I guess. So I am DHing Salkeld and starting Hargrave, and a lot of them are kind of similar. Bobby Byrne, I think was that in your guys' build or no?
No, I did Whitney little.
Oh yeah,
but Byrne was a good option.
yeah.
Yeah, you went
And
Moises.
then I paid up for Moises instead of Fothergill.
Yeah, I like Jody Reed at
Yeah, I think that's a very solid offensive build.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that I was using primarily whatever the model data. For pitchers, I really leaned into high, low, high. And yeah, you want to pull up Robbie Ray? This was
This is so spicy. I did not win PD5. Dang it. Robbie Ray's a 60, right?
61 now, I think.
61. Okay.
Don't worry, I just got bumped from the Monday Silver.
No.
Just outside of the cash round.
All right, Robbie Ray, 62. So spicy.
So, having watched Robbie Ray pitch all of last year, that seems fairly accurate that he's going to walk some people, he's going to strike out a ton of people, and he's going to give up the long ball.
Yes. But he's going to hold the runners when he walks them.
Yeah.
This is such a cool card. Yeah, I love this. I'm going to remember to activate him. And oh, you had one more that was absolutely worth looking at. Bannister. Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Sorry.
Bannister is
My family just got back from soccer practice and they're making dinner in there. They're next to my office. Sorry if you can hear them, everyone. Bannister's great. Love the extreme fly ball, stamina, hold runners, awesome card. Yeah, he had a great LE in PT22, didn't he? Ha Daman, I think.
Maybe? I don't remember.
Yeah, he had a good card.
Yeah.
Cool. Let's hop back over real quick. And then you went with stuff on your bullpen too.
I paid up for Zach Jackson.
Ooh, let's go look.
He's
By
going to
the
strike
way,
out people.
I love Trevor Richards now.
Yeah.
To Trevor Richards and Zach Jackson. Alright, so we're going to get to Jackson first. Alright.
Jackson was the one that got bumped up from a. He's gonna strike some people out, and he's not gonna give up home runs.
Oh my! He even has reverse splits. Holy cow! I love this X though.
Yeah.
That is a beast. That's going in my bronze floor build.
So that's why I paid up for that, because I figured I want him to come in and shut people down.
And just look at this. This is such a great 40 overall card. The 40, 41, 42 is I want them to be good at something. And so I know a lot of people just generically grab the 40, 40, 40 profile. It's just my belief. Be good at something, right? like personifies the let them be good at something. This guy's gonna. Yeah, that's a cool card.
Yep. So that's my build. I did that on my alt because I had all my tournament slots full. I'd probably do some rejigging because I do have force, but maybe not.
Yeah, I mean the only thing I would say with that build is I'd like to have a second stop good relief pitcher that I would have probably split up Zach. You guys saw my build. I split up Zach Jackson into like two 50 overall ish. Plank and Lucas, right?
Lucas.
And so that's just like I feel like you're gonna need that bullpen arm, but you actually your 40 41s are some of them are really good that you might be able to get away with it, but you're gonna rely a little bit more on good dice rolls with those guys as opposed to if you have two somewhat competent guys. I feel like it protects you a little bit more, but you'd have to knock down a whole bunch of different spots to try and if you wanted to keep Jackson to move up. You could shave down maybe like Bobby Byrne to Pinky Whitney, get you 5 points, and then I'm trying to think of where
Blue down to
Alou down to
Fothergill.
Fothergill, I think, is the big one.
that would be the big one, and then you could go to like a Nelson Bryles as a 53 would be a really nice guy, especially with Jackson. But I think this is a strong build.
Yeah, I do too. I like this.
Do you want to pull up Will Smith? Because he's a lefty out of the pen, and he's just been downgraded as well. I think he's not the worst. So 41. But yeah, I ended up having like 1 or 2 points left, and I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, Will Smith is good. Gets the fly ball bump. It's nice.
He's gonna still strike out people. His hold runners this is what I was talking about, where there's a lot of synergy where he's probably gonna walk a bunch, but hopefully the idea is that they'll be limited to just first base.
Yeah. And so, correct me, the way it was explained is that hold runners determines how often they attempt to steal, and catcher arm decides if they're successful or not. And so, when Exto is talking about synergy, having pitchers with high hold is going to limit the amount of attempts that the engine will try and steal on you, right? And so, so if you have a catcher with a noodle arm like, Bubbles and Ruiz and Salkeld, then you really want to consider the hold runners that your pitchers possess. So.
Yep. So that was my build. We'll see. I've been doing okay in day caps. I haven't really been focusing on them. Yeah.
Shamefully,
Okay, I think we covered daily low bronze cap. Does anybody have any questions
I think
in the chat?
next though.
Well, I lost you, Durden. I didn't hear what you said.
This one, the Exto. I think he won it.
I got no problem with that. He's beating me at everything else, so I wouldn't expect this to be any different.
Okay.
Apologies if the stream got a little glitchy. I think I have way too much stuff open on my computer right now. I usually shut down everything before I stream because I'll have way too much for work open, and I totally think I blanked on it. I do like Quantrill as a 41. I think his control is up there. I do like Quantrill, and for some reason I can't find him right now. I do like Quantrill profile or something like that. I do like him as a relief pitcher, by the way. Houston was asking.
The one thing, just to answer Cavacom's question, the reason why I would love to have 13 pitchers, because I do think there are times, especially if you go 7 games into a series, that your bullpen's just going to get destroyed with 12, and 13 gives you a little better protection. But it's really tough with only 13 hitters to have the overlap. To not have like the overlap and need a guy to cover 3 positions.
Yeah.
And so
2 guys to.
Yeah, I mean, you definitely can't use Bobby Richardson that only covers 1 position, and then you also need somebody to cover 3, and that just can really be a bit of a mess. So that's why I stick with 14 hitters and 12 pitchers. Obviously, if you have if you have Ellie, Babe Ruth, play him both ways. I don't really think there's anybody else in this format that you would try and play both ways, but I'd have to dig through maybe some of the maybe one of the new live cards or something has a little bit of use. But I think 14-12 is going to be pretty standard for this format.
I remember Bronze Quicks last year. You would run Lorenzen sometimes.
Right.
He was not a really good pitcher, but you could run him and then have him back up an outfield position.
Yeah.
Cool.
Well, guys, thanks again for. And so it is PTCS weekend, and so good luck to everyone. Not sure what the weekends are going to look like, but if I'm around on Saturday, if Aster and Exto are in, they'll join me too. But yeah, so I'm gonna have 3 teams running, so it'd be kind of fun to stream, kind of log in and check on things. All depends on my family, so might be. I'll throw up some post if we end up doing something this Saturday, and everyone in X.
Thanks everybody for coming out and listening to us chat. I see we've got 156 people watching, which I think is by far our best number. I think drops may be a factor in that, but hopefully people listened and learned some things. Have a good night, everybody.
Yeah. Thanks.
Yeah,
Bye.
have a good one, everyone.